He froze in the cereal section. Jesus, Ethan, he said to me, eyes wide, they got a whole owl for breakfast. I remember the day Robert finally walked out of that prison gate like it was yesterday, even though it's been a couple years now. He'd done over 30 years inside, started with something like 15 for killing the bastard who raped his sister back in the 80s. But then he tried to bolt a few times, first with some half-baked plan involving a laundry truck, then again by scaling a fence during a yard shift. Each escape attempt just piled on more time, turning what should have been a quick revenge stint into a life sentence he somehow outlasted. By the time he got out, he was in his late 50s, graying at the temples with that same quiet intensity he'd always had, like he was always sizing up the room for weak points. Mom had picked him up in her old Honda, me riding shotgun because I just turned 18 and figured I owed him that much for all the letters I'd sent as a kid, even if I barely knew the guy. We drove straight to the grocery store, nothing fancy, just the local Kroger because that's what you do when someone's been locked up forever. Stocked the fridge. Robert stepped out of the car, stared at the massive parking lot like it was some alien landing strip, and muttered, "They built all this while I was gone." Inside, it hit him harder. The aisle stretched on forever, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, and the sheer volume of crap on the shelves, boxes of every color, brands I'd never even heard of. He froze in the cereal section, that whole damn wall dedicated to nothing but flakes and puffs and loops. Jesus, Ethan, he said to me, eyes wide, they got a whole owl for breakfast. Back then, you picked Cheerios or cornflakes and called it a day. Now it's like choices on top of choices. He grabbed a box of Frosted Flakes at random, turned it over like it might bite him, and I could see the overwhelm creeping in, his shoulders hunching a bit. Shopping with him after that was always a production. He'd come from an era where you jotted down milk, bread, eggs on a scrap of paper and had the corner store deliver it by noon. No wandering fluorescent mazes, no impulse buys staring you down. One time we were in line at checkout, and he just zoned out, staring at the candy racks like they were a threat. Too much, he grumbled when I nudged him. Feels like drowning in options. We'd end up with half the cart abandoned, him insisting we only get the basics, like he was rationing for a lockdown that wasn't coming. The glow sticks thing, though, that's the one that still cracks me up. It was a few months in, summer barbecue at our place, and my cousins brought a pack for the kids to mess around with after dark. I handed one to Robert, snapped it to make it glow, and watched his face go from curious to straight up alarmed. He held it out at arm's length, the green light flickering against his calloused fingers, and goes, "Ethan, this thing. Is it gonna explode?" His voice was dead serious, like he'd seen enough homemade bombs in prison stories to know better. We all lost it, Mom spitting out her beer. My little sister doubled over laughing while he just stood there, glow stick dangling like a live wire. "No, Rob," I managed, wiping my eyes. "It's just chemicals mixing." Harmless fun. He cracked a rare smile eventually, shook his head, and cracked another one open for himself, but I caught him, eyeing it warily all night, like it might go off any second. It's weird, looking back, how something so small could sum up the gap between his world and ours. He's adjusted some, picks up his own groceries now without needing a map, even jokes about the cereal all sometimes. But every now and then, he'll pause in the middle of Walmart, cart half full, and say something like, "World got too big while I was away." Makes you think about what you'd lose in 30 years, you know?